Hi guys, it's Val, Toxic Free. Welcome, thank you for joining me today. I did a video last time on anxiety and just went into a few details about stuff. I had a lot to say, so obviously I cut the video short because it was going on for like 22 minutes. So I'm just doing another one. So this one is still about anxiety, but at the end, towards the end of it, it's about how I help myself through real anxious times, despair, when you're at the bottom, when you're in the black hole and you just don't know where to go. So there's things in it where I kind of give advice and give help on how I survived. Again, what I said in the last one is that fear, anxiety doesn't hurt people. People hurt people. So when you get anxious or get fear, push through it, because that can't hurt you. You can't hurt yourself through fear. You need to push through fear to get to the other side of it. And then when you actually get to the other side of fear and the other side of the anxiety attack, or whatever you get to, remember, you've survived it. It's not killed you. And the more you kind of ride the pain and feel the pain, you know that the next time you get it, you know you've already been through it once, and you know you've got through it, and you know you can get through it again. Empaths, codependents, whatever you want to call us, we pick up on other people's pain. We feel other people's pain and we absorb it. So that's why I think we get anxious, because we always care about what other people think about us. We always want to please people. Sometimes it's not so much, with me, it's not so much what people think of me. I always get worried about upsetting people. I didn't go to this party this weekend. In my last video, I said I was going to a party. Well, I didn't go because my anxiety came and no. But what I was more worried about was upsetting the person, my friend, whose party it was. So that's the thing with me. I get anxious about what other people's feelings are and how I go around hurting people if I do. I can't help it. I don't do it on purpose. But that's one thing empaths do, is that we go around worrying that we hurt other people, and we put ourselves second to other people most of the time. Now, I just want to say the story that I meant to actually mention last week about anxiety. You can't see anxiety. It's invisible, obviously. It's like any wound, abuse. You can't really see it unless it's physical and you have the bruises. I remember coming back from the doctors, and my mum asked me, what did the doctor say? And I said, I've got anxiety. Now, these words that came out of my mum's mouth, bless her, are typical. My mum said, what do you have to be anxious about? Well, I just went, smiled and walked out. But the thing is about anxiety is, the fact is that we're anxious because we can't share, especially with narcissistic abuse. We can't share, so that eats away at us. And it's a double-edged sword. We can't share what the problem is with people that love us. So we get anxious. So then when people say, why are you anxious? You've got nothing to be anxious about. We're anxious because we can't share what's making us anxious. So that makes us more anxious. So there we go. So it's a bit like when people say to you, oh, you've been in an abusive relationship. Why don't you just leave? It's these people that have no clue, and they say sentences to us that you just feel like, that are just like salt in the wound. You really shouldn't say these things to people. Oh, you should have left him a long time ago, or what have you got to be anxious about? If people are diagnosed with anxiety, they're diagnosed with anxiety. So, the iPad was slipping. I ended up seeing the top of my head a minute ago. Okay. So yeah, we all know that the hormone cortisol, I've gone on about this in the last video, so I won't mention it too long. It's released in our body, and it's a threat detector. So if you get fear, you get alert. Your body just kind of kicks into alertness so that we can run away from them saber-tooth tigers. I still haven't learned the word Neanderthal. Neanderthal, is that it? Neanderthal. Yes, in the Neanderthal days. There you go. That's when we basically had cortisol, so we could run away from the saber-toothed tigers. So that stays in your body and makes you sick. It can go to your bones, to your muscles. It can just really make you sick over time. You tend to have anxiety a lot in the morning, because through the night when you're asleep, your unconscious state of mind is going through the day before and trying to work out what's been going on, what's happened. And again, you could wake up with more cortisol than you went to bed with, because your brain's been going through everything in the night while you're asleep, and then you wake up with morning anxiety, and it's horrendous, because I get it. It's basically trying to work out all the stored negative vibrations in your head. It's trying to get rid of all the badness that you've been through, and yeah, it's not nice. Panic attacks, impending doom, basically shortness of breath. What we've got down here: palpitations, chest pain, rapid fluttering heartbeat, numbness, tingling in the fingers, dizziness. It's all the signs of panic attack. It's scary. I don't actually have panic attacks, I just get like the disorder, but those that do, it's not nice. So too much stress in the body can make the whole body poorly, so be careful. If you've got aches and pains, headaches, dizziness, nausea, confusion, coordination that's not good, you need to go to the doctors, because it does sound like maybe you've got anxiety, and most people on here watching these videos probably have got anxiety because of what we've all been through. So yeah, so the next time you think, does stress and anxiety make you sick? Yes, it can make you very sick, and that's what I've been suffering from. So I think what I've tended to do when I was anxious, when I'd get up in the middle of the night, is write a diary. Write everything down. If you write everything down, it gets it out of your head, and it just hopefully empties your brain. You need to empty your brain, if that makes any sense. I think the worst times for anxiety is in the middle of the night. This is when I used to get really, really bad. I've got some tips to try and sort of like get through it. When you do get really bad anxiety and pain, you need to just ride it. Ride it. Hit it head on. Sit there and feel it. If you can actually feel the pain and you can just let it hit you, and you try and fight it, you just got to ride it. And then what happens is you build up like a tolerance. That's what I found. If I had severe stress, anxiety, despair in the middle of the night for some reasons that I'll go into in a minute, I would just lay there and just ride the pain and think, I'll just ride it because it will go. I will get to the other side of this. And then you find that when you do, like I said at the beginning, you do, it hits again, you ride it. And you just think, it's not going to hurt me, it's just the natural body, it's something that's just going to happen, and I'm just going to have to get through this. Now the tips of, I found that my worst types of despair was kind of in the middle of the night. Now I'm going to give you some tips. Obviously narcs like to text you in the middle of the night, and I think the reason for this is that if you are on your own and this is a boyfriend that's away, everything in the middle of the night seems louder, seems more alert, seems lonelier, seems darker, and seems just more desperate. So if you get a text in the middle of the night from your tosspot narc, it's going to feel so much more painful than if you got it in the day with everything around you. Firstly, my tip is, I'm going to say don't reply to the text or don't even open the text, but I know what we're like, we do. If you get a text, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to say don't open it, but you will, because I did. Best thing to do is turn your phone, well, if you're using it as an alarm, turn your phone off. Or if you are using it as an alarm clock, put it on airplane mode. Secondly, if you do open the text, this is the kind of thing I would do. I remember getting a text from him in the middle of the night, and it was calling me crazy, telling me I should go and fuck off and live on a desert island. And it was the most horrendous thing that he wrote. And I firstly just laid there and really wished I'd never opened it. And I kept saying, oh God, why did I open that text? Why did I open that text? And that feeling of despair and pain just came over me. Now, some of my tips and my examples are very stupid, as we all know. I actually what I had to do is, there was no one there to look after me, obviously. So when you're alone and you're on your own, you just have to look after yourself. So you have to tell yourself, you'll be fine. Repeat that over and over again. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And in a way, repeating that over and over to yourself, it actually does calm you down. You'll be fine. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. I know that sounds really stupid, and then maybe I should be put in a padded cell, but it works. And if there's nothing else that is going to happen in the middle of the night, you're going to have to do these things. The other thing is, which sounds really stupid, is I actually used to hold my own hand. Psycho! Seriously, I would hold my own hand, and the fact is that just the feeling of one hand holding the other hand and that hold is really, really weird. But I would actually hold my own hand either way, whichever way it feels better. Just hold my own hand, and it was comforting. So holding your own hand when you're in despair in the middle of the night, you're pulling your hair out, you don't know what to do with yourself, there's no one around to cry to, you're crying, and you just think, I can't cope with this person, has hurt me so badly, and now he's texting me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I've got another 7 hours to sleep and I can't go to sleep. Just hold your own hand and just keep repeating, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be okay, and ride the pain. Hit that pain head on. Just let it in, and then you know that you'll get through it. And that's what I kind of did. And when you finally try and calm down, you can then try and sleep. But what's happened, obviously, the cortisol and the anxiety's kicked in. So when you try and get back to sleep, it's the hardest thing. Now, it's no good counting sheep, because it doesn't work. No good counting sheep, because it doesn't work. So I will literally lay there. Now, you know when you bang yourself, right? If you know you bang your arm and you rub it, what happens is all the nerve endings, first of all, when you first bang your arm, all your nerve endings are going to the pain, the area of pain. By rubbing your arm, the nerve endings then turn off. Weird example again. And they go to the area of the rub. So when you rub it, only half of your nerve endings go to the pain, the rest are going to the rub. So it actually takes the pain away. What I find is when I'm sleeping or trying to sleep, just obviously lie there. Your brain's going through stuff in your head. You have to actually consciously stop yourself and think, right, that's it. I've done my thinking. There's nothing I can do. I'm in bed. I'm not going to fix it. I'm going to sleep. And you have to consciously think about going to sleep. And then slow your breathing down. Once you've slowed your breathing down, listen to your breathing. So what's happening is all your nerve endings in your brain are going off in different directions, thinking about tomorrow, thinking of work, thinking of your narc, thinking of the tax you've got to pay, thinking of work, thinking of stress. If you just stop and bring all those nerve endings to one place and let them just concentrate on your breathing, it's a bit like, you know, I don't know, I can't make another example. I'm not even going to try and think of an example. But if you just literally let them and hear your breathing and concentrate on your breathing, you might just sort of go off in different directions, but call them nerve endings back to the breathing all the time and just keep concentrating on your slow breaths. And before you know it, you will fall asleep. I know that because I did. My mum was having difficulty sleeping, and I said to her about this, and I said the next day, did you do it? And she goes, yeah. I said, so you concentrate on your breathing? I said, did it work? She goes, I don't know, I can't remember. I said, what, did you fall asleep? So yeah, it did work. And that's the only thing I can suggest. Is just lay in bed at night, hold your own hands, start off by saying you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. Comfort yourself. You have to comfort yourself. Think about tomorrow. Think about that next week. Think about in a month's time. Put yourself into the future and think, this is just something I have to go through now. This is just something that I have to live and I have to ride through this very moment. Just let it happen, let it flow, let it hit you, and just basically take control of it. Don't let it control you. Just think, right, fine, come on, you bastard pain. Let it hit me, and then just lay there, hold your own hand, tell yourself you'll be fine. When you've calmed down, big breaths. Concentrate on your breathing so that all your nerve endings and your thought process stops thinking of everything else and comes to your breathing, and then you will fall asleep. And then in the morning you can text the bastard back. No, don't text the bastard back. And one more thing I'm going to say is if people do want to write letters to their narcissists, write it by all means, but do not ever send it. Don't ever send a letter to a narcissist. I sent a letter, yes, I know you're going to say, well, you sent one. I did, but mine was just basically telling him all the nasty things that he was. There was not 1 ounce in my letter saying to him that you hurt me, or I cared about you, or I love you. Nothing like that. It was literally my way of getting back at him and just ripping him to shreds, which is something, if you want to do, you want to do it. But if you're going to write him a letter and explain everything in and out of what he did, how you felt, the time you did this and what you did that, and what about the time you did this, and I'm broken hearted and you said you'd love me forever, and no, they'll only read it, they'll take everything out of context, and they'll rearrange the letter, send it back to you, twist every single piece of word, and the whole letter will be about them. And all you'll do is wish you'd never sent it, and you'll feel more pain. The pain you feel at that moment before you send the letter will be doubled if you send the letter. So let the pain, think, stop, breathe, and use your brain, and just basically think, I'm not going to send this letter. I'll write it and I'll have it there. Get it out of your head, and then you're done. I also got told in a comment recently that I ramble on too much. I know, I do, so I'm not going to ramble anymore. I hope that's kind of covered a few more things. I'm going to start going into the traits and the red flags next. I know there's thousands and thousands of videos about these things, but obviously what I'm going to do is use my experiences and try and look at it from a different direction, because everybody does them and they're out there. Obviously, if you're new to my channel or you're new to this community, you know, you might not have seen them videos before. So anybody that does click onto my channel, I want to cover things like that, because anybody new won't know anything about it. Even my funny examples hopefully can make people laugh. Guys, take care, stay safe, love you all, bye bye.